couple of things I had forgotten earlier. I'd watched Nigella for Me, named Laura, her latest video where she talked about she got married at 18, had a boy, and after a year or so, she got a divorce. She had to go back to work, so she sent her little boy. He's a grown man of the family if I was owned by now. She's mentioned that, but she had to have her parents watch over him, while she worked. She said she kind of hated to do that, but she had to work. But she said for her subsequent marriages and children's divorce, she's able to stay at home. And yeah. Now what we used to call it was being a housewife, homemaker or housewife. That's what I traditionally called it. She used the phrase stay-at-home mom, which are equally valid phrases. But anyway, my mother was a housewife, raised me and my sister. Of course, she did the books for my dad. I learned the air conditioning, electrical trade from my dad. Of course, he retired in '83. Of course, he's been gone for many years. My mother would sometimes go get parts for him. I did that for a period of time. When me and my dad were working together, there was a time when I had my own vehicle. Still working for him, but I had my own vehicle, and I would chase parts for him. Of course, I chased parts for myself too. Of course, I said he retired in '83. I've had the business since then. Sometime, if I get monetized here on YouTube, I can retire from doing AC work and do YouTube full time. I'd probably spend about a year telling all my valued customers that I was going to retire at a certain point in time. That's the next thing I want to cover for my grandson. If he does get a job at that sports place or somewhere else, and saves up some money. It takes a while to save up money because once you start earning a living, there's all kind of stuff that you want. So one of the hardest things in the world is saving up money to buy. Now your first vehicle, something you got to remember the rest of your life. It's something very, very important to get your. It made a major difference in my life when I got my first vehicle. Was a Volkswagen Fastback. It had a burned engine. I rebuilt. I went through about two or three sets of pistons because it kept burning pistons. There's something weird about it. Burned the exact same spot. Now there's something you can get called cool tin. Back in the day when VWs were popular, you could get replacement, different sheet metal put on the engine. I was hoping it would direct the airflow in a different direction, but it still burned the pistons. Never could quite figure that out. I just parked it. But you're going to remember your first vehicle, and you want to be responsible. I mean, once you get your driver's license, you want to keep it. So you want to be very careful. Don't drive impaired. Don't drive when you're tired or sleepy. Now, my daughter and grandson, they go together. My daughter should go ahead and get her driver's license. It makes it a lot easier to get a vehicle and insurance and stuff. Pull your money together and buy something. You both use it. And my grandson, if he doesn't already know a little bit of Spanish, he should learn at least enough Spanish so that if he's working a job, he can talk to people in Spanish. I can guarantee you, knowing a little bit of Spanish is super handy. Yo hablo español muy poquito. Now I've got these Pimsleur files. If you want them, I put them on a laptop I got my daughter, but I don't think she still got it. I think it probably broke on her. But I put these Pimsleur files. I've got them in about 20 different languages, but Spanish is much handy right here. But Pimsleur will have you say these what I call silly phrases over and over again. ¿Cuánto cuesta? ¿Cuánto cuesta una cerveza in Tijuana? How much is a beer in Tijuana? They have you repeat that over and over again. Or Los Americanos. This was the real phrase they had on there. Los Americanos tome mucho leche. I said that one time, and I was actually here in Sam's Club, and this guy gave me the funniest look. What you're saying, Los Americanos tome mucho leche. Americans drank a lot of milk. This guy gave me the funniest look. But you do learn the language by repeating these silly phrases over and over again. If Damien wants these, let me know. I'll put them on a thumb drive. If you've got a computer where you can load files off a thumb drive, you can watch these. Or I've got these Pamzer files in a bunch of different languages. If you tell me you want to learn another language, like French or German or Portuguese. Well, there's two different Portuguese. There's Portuguese they speak in Portugal, and there's a Portuguese they speak in Brazil. They're slightly different. There's different files. Anyway, das Leben ist ein Abenteuer and c'est la vie. Bye-bye. Let's all have some fun.